But let me ask you
Mm-hmm.
this. So I'm seeing a lot of things about Chase Young. Chase Young, I got to say, 16 and a half sacks. Amazing. I mean, how many players get that? Breaking records for Ohio State as a defensive end. But if you look back at it, 7 of those sacks came from just 2 games, Penn State, Michigan. 7 of those sacks. So he went off on 2 games. He had
Mm-hmm.
zeros across the board on his stat line for Michigan. I looked up to see if it was the game he was suspended. It wasn't the game he was suspended. I looked up to see if he was hurt, injured. Maybe he was sat out. It wasn't because of hurt or injury. He literally had no tackles, no sacks, no tackles for loss, no batted balls, nothing across his stat line. No interceptions, no nothing. Now I look, and a lot of the Ohio State articles are saying, well, that just shows how great he is because Michigan had to do so much to stop him and run away from him that he had nothing on the stat board, and yet Ohio State was still able to win big. Now I like that spin. I'm a guy who's just getting into writing and sportscasting. You both are seasoned writers, and you're a photographer. I get it. Spin it any way you can, but I'm looking at some success in running the ball with Haskins at Michigan and with Taylor at Wisconsin. And again, talking about Mark Childress and Ellis Tolbert on segment number 1, they both agree that the running game for Clemson more than likely will be the key for them to have success, and they probably will have success. If you look at what those teams like Wisconsin did, yeah, they paid attention to Chase Young. They just ran away from him, and they were able to run away from him successfully. So can Clemson handle Chase Young, Susan? I've made my point on my end. What do you think?
I definitely think that he can be taken care of. We have something that Wisconsin didn't have. We have something that Ohio State doesn't have. We have something that nobody has, and that is one coach, Brent Venables. And while he's not going to get out there and play, we know what he does with his defense. We also know what, and I'm sorry, I jumped to defense before I got to our offensive guys, but I know what we can do handling them offensively. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I really think that our offensive line is going to do all they can to make sure that Etienne's getting his running lanes the way he needs to get them, while at the same time occupying Chase Young so that he doesn't have an opportunity for those sacks, that he doesn't have that chance to get at Trevor Lawrence. And we have to also remember, Trevor Lawrence did something this year we had not seen him do last year, and that was use his legs. And he did that very effectively. So when you've got Etienne, world-class running back, who's ready to go, and then you've got Trevor Lawrence, who's making plays with his legs, extending things, and then we've got an offensive line with so much experience, I just don't think it's going to be a problem to deal with Mr. Young. And forgive me for jumping over there to Coach Venables first, because I was already thinking, ooh, what are we going to do on offense as well? But or how are we going to stop their offense? But definitely we'll be able to handle Chase Young. It's not going to be easy, and I don't want it to sound that way. We're talking about a force, but he's not a force that can't be stopped. He definitely can. We've seen it, just like you pointed out.
He's a great player, but he's one guy. You can scheme around one great defensive end, and if you listen to some of the things Jackson Carman has said leading up to the game and talking to the media, you can tell he's looking forward to this matchup. It sounds like he's been looking forward to it for a long time. And I know they move Chase Young around a lot, and he won't always be on Jackson Carman, but he's going to be over on that side a lot, and it's going to be up to Carman to handle him. And if he can't, they'll have to give him help. But I imagine they'll try running right at him. There's a lot of different things you can do to offset a great pass rusher. One great pass rusher isn't going to beat this team. It's going to take a lot more than that. He might make a play or two, but I mean, Lawrence has been very good at it, avoiding pressure in the pocket, taking that step forward or taking that slide step and avoiding the pressure of whatever he's got to do, or if he's got to take off running. I mean, Young might have a sack, maybe he might have 2, getting sacked once or twice isn't going to beat you. They're going to have to do a lot more than that. It's going to take a lot more than Chase Young.